Today I will tell you what to say, not as tricks or tactics, but as reflections of the man you must become. Speak from strength, not desperation, and watch how the world responds. Before you can attract anyone, especially a woman, you must first master yourself. A man who is ruled by his emotions, easily shaken by rejection or desperate for approval, cannot command respect or admiration. Words have power, but only when spoken by someone who is in control of his own mind. Imagine two men speaking the same sentence. One delivers it with a calm, steady presence, as if he is stating a simple truth. The other says it with nervous energy, seeking reassurance from the person he speaks to. Which man will be more attractive? The answer is obvious. Attraction is not just about what you say, but how you say it. And how you say something is dictated by the state of your mind. A man who is emotionally unstable will always be at the mercy of others. If a woman ignores him, he panics. If she tests him with sarcasm or indifference, he becomes defensive. If she praises him, he becomes overly excited. His emotions rise and fall based on external events, and because of this, he is weak. A man like this does not attract, he repels. He is needy, and neediness is the opposite of strength. On the other hand, a man who has mastered his emotions remains steady, no matter what happens. If a woman ignores him, he does not flinch. If she challenges him, he remains calm. If she praises him, he does not become arrogant. He understands that nothing outside of him has the power to control his emotions unless he allows it. This kind of man is rare, and that is why he is attractive. Before you speak, you must first ensure that your mind is in the right state. Are you speaking from confidence or insecurity? From a place of abundance or desperation? If you feel anxious, if you feel like you need someone's approval, stop. Do not speak until you have regained control. A man who has mastered his emotions does not rush to fill silence with words. He understands that silence itself is powerful. Consider the most charismatic individuals in history. They do not speak quickly or nervously. They do not fidget or ramble. Instead, they pause when they speak. They take their time. Their words have weight because their presence demands attention. They have mastered themselves first, and that mastery allows them to command the room without effort. So how do you master your emotions? The first step is to detach from outcomes. Most men become nervous when speaking to women because they are afraid of rejection. But rejection is nothing. It has no power over you unless you let it. If a woman is not interested, what have you lost? Nothing. If she is interested, what have you gained? Nothing, unless you believe that your worth depends on her validation. But a man who has mastered himself does not seek validation. He does not need anyone to approve of him to feel worthy. The second step is to practice emotional discipline. Do not react impulsively to every situation. If someone insults you, remain calm. If someone tests your patience, do not break. If someone praises you, do not let it cloud your judgment. A man who is ruled by emotions is like a ship without a captain, easily swayed by the wind, unable to stay on course. But a man who controls his emotions is unshakable. Finally, understand that attraction is not something you get, it is something you become. When you master yourself, you naturally become the kind of man who draws others in. You do not need tricks, tactics, or rehearsed lines. You do not need to chase. You simply speak with certainty, and others are drawn to that certainty. When you speak, let your words be an extension of your inner strength. Do not speak to impress. Do not speak to seek approval. Speak because you have something to say, and say it with confidence. A man who is in control of himself is in control of every situation, and that, more than any clever phrase or compliment, is what truly attracts. Speak not to gain approval, but to express what is true. This is the mindset that separates a man who is respected from one who is ignored. Too many men speak with the hidden desire to be liked, to impress, or to win favor. Their words are not their own. They are carefully crafted attempts to be accepted. But a man who speaks with purpose does not seek to be liked. He seeks only to be understood, and because of this, people listen. A man who speaks for approval reveals his insecurity. You can hear it in his tone, in the way he hesitates, in the way he glances around to see how others react. His words are shaped not by his own convictions, but by what he thinks others want to hear. He is a performer, constantly adjusting himself to fit the expectations of those around him. And what is the result? He is forgettable. A man who bends his words for approval is like a leaf in the wind, shifting with every passing breeze. No one follows such a man. No one is drawn to him. Contrast this with a man who speaks with purpose. He is not reckless with his words, nor does he speak just to fill silence. When he speaks, it is because he has something to say, not because he craves validation. His words carry weight because they come from a place of self-assurance. He does not measure their effect on others. He simply says what needs to be said. A man like this is impossible to ignore. People may not always agree with him, but they respect him because he does not compromise himself. Women, like all people, are drawn to those who do not seek approval. Neediness is repellent. The moment a man shows that he is desperate to be liked, he loses respect. But a man who is indifferent to approval, who speaks as though he has already validated himself, is naturally attractive. He does not speak to entertain or impress. He speaks as though he is stating something obvious. And that quiet confidence is magnetic. A weak man compliments excessively, hoping for attention. He softens his words to avoid conflict. He laughs at things he does not find funny, nods at things he does not agree with, and hides his real thoughts out of fear of rejection. He believes this makes him more likable, but in reality, it makes him insignificant. Women do not remember men like this. They pass them by without a second thought. A strong man does the opposite. He does not seek to be liked, he seeks to be honest. If he gives a compliment, it is because he means it, not because he hopes for a reaction. If he disagrees, he says so without hesitation, not rudely but firmly. He is not reckless, nor is he aggressive, but he is direct. His words reflect his mind, and because his mind is steady, his words carry power. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. Imagine two men in conversation with a woman. The first tries to be charming, carefully choosing his words to match her opinions, nodding at everything she says, agreeing even when he does not mean it. He believes this makes him attractive, but all it does is make him blend into the background, like every other man who seeks approval. The second man listens, but he does not seek to impress. He does not rush to fill silence. When he speaks, he states his thoughts as if they are self-evident. If he agrees, he says so simply. If he disagrees, he does not soften his stance. He does not ask, "Do you think I'm right?" He simply speaks, and in doing so, he shows that he does not need permission to have an opinion. This man does not beg for attention, and because of that, he commands it. This is the difference between speaking with purpose and speaking for approval. One makes you forgettable, the other makes you respected. If you wish to attract, do not bend your words to fit the moment. Say only what is true to you. Those who resonate with it will come closer. Those who do not were never meant to stay. But either way, you will be heard. Confidence is silent. Insecurity is loud. This is a truth that governs the way people perceive you, whether in attraction, business, or leadership. The most powerful men do not need to announce their power. The most attractive men do not need to prove their worth. The moment you feel the need to convince someone of your value, you have already lost it. A man who is truly confident carries himself with an ease that makes others take notice. He does not over-explain, he does not justify, and he does not seek permission to exist as he is. When he speaks, he does so with certainty, not because he is trying to impress, but because he does not doubt himself. His presence alone is enough to make people listen. He does not have to demand attention, it is given to him naturally. Insecurity, on the other hand, is loud. It is found in the man who talks too much, who overshares, who seeks validation with every sentence. It is in the nervous laughter, the constant need to check how others react, the desperate attempts to keep a conversation going because silence feels unbearable. A man like this believes that if he stops talking, he will lose the other person's interest. But the opposite is true. He loses it because he talks too much. Consider how the most respected figures in history carry themselves. They do not rush to speak. They do not fill space with meaningless words. They say what they mean and allow silence to do the rest. A man who is confident in himself is comfortable with silence because he is not afraid of losing attention. He knows his presence alone is enough. This is especially true when it comes to attraction. A man who is insecure will feel the need to constantly prove himself. He will try too hard to be funny, to be interesting, to impress. He will tell exaggerated stories, boast about his achievements, or try to display his status in an obvious way. He will compliment excessively, hoping that his words will make him more desirable. But the moment someone senses that he is trying to be liked, he loses his appeal. A confident man does none of this. He does not try to prove himself because he does not feel the need to. He knows who he is, and because he is secure in that, he does not have to convince others. His confidence is not in what he says, but in what he does not say. He does not need to brag. His presence already speaks for itself. He does not try to make people like him. He allows them to decide on their own, and because of this, people are drawn to him effortlessly. This is why attraction is often misunderstood. Many believe that in order to impress someone, they must be the loudest in the room, the most entertaining, the most noticeable. But true attraction is found in composure, when a man can sit in silence without discomfort, when he does not rush to fill every gap with words, when he speaks slowly and deliberately. He creates an air of mystery that is far more powerful than any grand display. Imagine two men on a date. One is nervous, constantly talking, trying to fill every second with a joke, a story, or a compliment. He cannot stand a moment of silence because he is afraid she will lose interest. The other man is calm. He listens more than he speaks. He does not force conversation. He allows it to flow naturally. He is completely at ease with himself, and because of this, she feels at ease with him. She leans in, curious to know more, because he is not putting everything on display. Confidence is attractive because it is rare. Most people are controlled by their insecurities, constantly seeking external validation to feel good about themselves. But when a man is truly confident, he does not need anyone to reassure him of his worth. He does not need to be the loudest, the funniest, or the most impressive. He simply is. And that quiet, effortless self-assurance is more powerful than anything he could say. To master this, you must first master yourself. Stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying your actions. Stop feeling the need to impress others. Instead, let your presence speak for itself. Say what you mean, and then say no more. Let others come to their own conclusions about you. A man who is sure of himself does not beg to be understood. He allows himself to be discovered. Confidence is silent because it does not need to prove itself. Insecurity is loud because it is desperate to be seen. If you understand this, you will no longer chase attraction. You will become it. Control is attractive. Desperation is repellent. This truth applies not only to attraction but to every area of life. The more a man chases, the more he pushes what he desires away. The more he grasps, the more it slips through his fingers. But when he is in control of himself, his emotions, and his actions, he naturally draws in what others waste energy trying to force. A man who is desperate is easy to spot. He moves too quickly, speaks too eagerly, and reacts too emotionally. His energy is frantic because he believes he must act fast before the opportunity disappears. He texts too often, tries too hard to impress, and overcompensates in conversation. He fears that if he does not prove his worth immediately, he will be forgotten. This fear makes him weak. A man who behaves this way is not in control. He is at the mercy of his own emotion. In contrast, a man who is in control acts with intention, not impulse. He does not rush. He does not overextend himself. He does not try to force attraction because he understands that anything forced is unnatural. He does not flood someone with attention because he does not seek validation. He is not indifferent, but he is not desperate. He is present, but not overbearing. He makes his interest known, but he does not beg, and because of this he becomes infinitely more attractive. Attraction is rooted in perception. A woman does not need to hear a man say he is desperate to sense it. It is in his actions, his timing, his energy. The way he reacts when she does not text back immediately. The way he seeks reassurance when he feels the conversation is not going his way. The way he constantly looks for signs that she approves of him. These are signals of a man who lacks control, and when control is absent, attraction fades. A man who is in control, however, is different. He does not panic when things do not go as expected. If she does not reply right away, he continues with his life. If she tests him with sarcasm or indifference, he does not react emotionally. If she seems distant, he does not chase. He remains steady, unaffected, and self-assured. Not because he is playing a game, but because he understands his value is not determined by her reactions. This mindset extends beyond attraction. In business, in friendships, in any social dynamic, control is power. A man who reacts emotionally to every situation is easily manipulated. He is predictable, and because of this, he is weak. But a man who controls himself, who chooses his responses instead of reacting impulsively, cannot be shaken. He is respected not because he demands it, but because he carries himself in a way that commands it. One of the strongest signals of control is patience. A desperate man rushes. He tries to escalate too quickly, thinking that waiting will cause him to lose his chance. But a man who is patient moves with precision. He does not chase. He allows things to unfold naturally. He does not fear loss because he knows that anything truly meant for him will not require force. This is why restraint is powerful. When a man does not immediately give everything away, his time, his energy, his emotions, he becomes more intriguing. People want to know more about him because he does not throw himself at them. His words carry more weight because he does not speak just to fill silence. His actions are more impactful because they are chosen carefully, not made out of desperation. Imagine two men in the same situation. One is quick to impress, flooding a woman with attention, reacting emotionally to every little shift in her mood, constantly looking for reassurance that she is interested. The other is calm. He is interested, but he does not chase. He listens more than he speaks. He does not seek reassurance because he does not need it. He does not worry about losing her interest because he knows that if she is truly interested, he will not have to convince her. The first man pushes her away without realizing it. The second man draws her in effortlessly. Not because of tricks or strategies, but because of who he is, grounded, steady, and in control. To embody this, you must first master yourself. Do not let your emotions dictate your actions. Do not let fear of loss cause you to act recklessly. Understand that you do not need to chase what is meant for you. Move with intention, not desperation. Speak with certainty, not hesitation. And most importantly, remain in control of yourself. Because the man who controls himself controls everything around him. Less is more. The most powerful words are often the fewest. A man who understands this does not waste breath trying to impress, explain, or convince. He speaks with purpose, and because of this, people listen. Most men make the mistake of thinking that attraction comes from saying the right things in abundance. They believe that if they talk more, share more, and explain more, they will be seen as interesting or likable. But the opposite is true. The more a man speaks without purpose, the more he reveals his insecurity. He fills silence because he fears it. He explains himself excessively because he is afraid of being misunderstood. He tells long stories, gives unnecessary details, and rushes to keep the conversation going because he believes that if he stops talking, he will lose attention. A man who is truly confident does not do this. He does not over-explain, he does not justify, he does not rush to fill space with words just to keep people engaged. He speaks when he has something to say, and when he is done, he stops. His words are direct, simple, and clear, and because of this, they have impact. Imagine two men in conversation. One is constantly talking, explaining every little thing, trying to prove his intelligence or humor. He tells long stories, interrupts himself with more details, and laughs nervously when he feels he is losing the listener's interest. The other man speaks with precision. He says what he means, then allows silence to settle. He does not try to prove anything. He simply states what he believes and leaves it at that. The first man is exhausting to listen to. The second is intriguing. This is the power of brevity. When you say less, people pay more attention. They lean in, waiting to hear more. They sense that your words carry weight because you do not waste them. This is why the most respected men in history were often men of few words. Their presence spoke for them. When they did speak, their words held authority because they were not given away carelessly. This applies especially in attraction. A man who talks too much, explains too much, and tries too hard to keep a conversation alive is revealing his nervousness. He is showing that he is afraid of silence because he does not trust that his presence alone is enough. But a man who speaks with intention does not fear silence. He lets it sit. He understands that confidence is not in the amount of words spoken, but in their precision. A single, well-placed statement can create more attraction than an entire conversation filled with unnecessary words. A man who knows his value does not try to explain it. He lets it be seen in how he carries himself. He does not tell a woman how interesting he is. He shows it through action. He does not try to make her laugh with every sentence. He allows his natural presence to be enough. Consider the effect of a simple, direct statement. A man who says, "I like the way you think," versus a man who says, "Wow, that's so interesting. I've never thought about it that way. I really admire how your mind works, and I think it's really cool that you see things from that perspective." Which statement is stronger? The first one. It is short, confident, and leaves room for curiosity. The second one, though well-intended, is too much. It sounds eager, excessive, and desperate for validation. This applies to every interaction. The more you explain, the weaker your position. The more you justify, the more doubtful you appear. The more you talk without purpose, the less valuable your words become. But when you make every sentence count, people start to listen. The key is restraint. Do not rush to fill silence. Do not over-explain your thoughts. Do not try to win someone over with a flood of words. Instead, say what is necessary and let it be enough. When you master this, you will notice a shift. People will start to lean in when you speak. They will remember what you say because you do not say everything. You will have a presence that commands respect, not because you are loud, but because you are precise. In the end, a man of few words is a man of power. The less you say, the more meaning your words will carry. Speak with purpose, and you will not need to say much at all. Be direct. A man who knows what he wants and expresses it clearly is far more attractive than one who